on to the LEC after Rogue take down XL, and we're going to have the post-match here on the analyst desk. Now, before the break, we did saw Larson trip and fall, but Medic checked him out. He's feeling well. He's even doing fan meets right now.
Nice.
Man, Shurima shuffled himself.
Fall over, you get back up.
Yeah, we of course wouldn't be laughing at it if it was a serious matter. We checked that he was okay, and he is. He's signing autographs and that, which he deserves because Rogue was able to close out this game versus XL. So let's start with the team compositions. I saw some banter online about kind of what went down in this draft phase. Was there anything particularly egregious?
Definitely. For me, the first one was the 4 pick. I think they had a really good Rakan angle, Rogue. I think you could just play a Kalista Rakan lane there, and you're really, really good in the enemy team comp. Especially if you're last picking something like the Jarvan, that's something you want to take away from them because of the amount of mobility they have, right? You're playing into Ahri, Wukong, Rakan, even Xerxe at times, 4 mobile champs as Jarvan. That's not great. I mean, Jarvan was meta because you can shut down Aphelios Jinx with ults, right? That was the whole idea and concept behind the champ.
Yeah, at least the teammates in this team comp kind of also help you remove some of that mobility because you've also got, you know, barrels laying down some areas you can't really walk into, the cannon barrage. Lots of people who can potentially help Jarvan out, but it's not an easy angle.
Okay. So you're saying it maybe wasn't that bad because they have thought about the ways to help him out.
It's a consolation, okay, Jarvan.
A consolation. You did okay. And in the early game, we talked so much about XL has the best early game in the league. Rogue used to have that in a past time, more particularly in spring, and here it was again the case.
Yeah, I mean, per XL on the cask, if nothing happens in this game, XL just win by default, right? And you can agree to an extent, of course, they have GP and things like Azir that scale, but that's the nature that we go into the expectation with this game. But Rogue just cracked the entire game open. They 2v3 you in bot, they get Herald, they Herald top tower, and then they win a mid fight, as we're going to see just in a second. And that just blows the game wide open. You have Markoon coming down here to help out and try to make a 3v2 happen. Malrang reads the play and is on the way, but by the time either jungler arrives, Markoon's dead. Malrang's here, just gets an assist, Odoamne gets the kill. Then we see a Herald top lane's over, and a gank mid and mid lane's over.
Yeah, and the thing about that mid lane is that normally when you have like Ahri Wukong, particularly with these lanes as well, that's where you need to have something start so it kind of flows out to the rest of the map. It kind of stalled quite early there for XL, so they couldn't even use that to try and alleviate what was happening on the rest of the map. Their playmaking kind of stalled early on.
And it was a big question for me because we haven't really seen XL play from behind, specifically in summer, because they've had such destructive early games. So it definitely was a question for me, but they found a way back into this game at some point.
They did. It did feel like Rogue maybe kind of played into their hands a little bit.
Okay,
but
how so?
I feel like they overstayed a little bit, then of course they ended up handing that right back to them after that.
We still have the ace for XL as well. And when you watch that, you do start thinking, well, this is going better. You're taking over. You have a team fight comp.
It was an overkill here by Rogue, but expected because you have numbers mid, Kayle showing bot, so you can take the 4v4 and you have a GP ult, right? So it just looks like a good engage. Malrang 4-man ult, fantastic. Let's get a slow on Larson here because he dashes in, tries to ult, but he gets knocked up by Markoon. If he can ult flash and then just hit all 4 members with the shuffle there, fight's over. You can see why. When you see angles like that, you have to go for it, right? Because that's just a game-winning play. Unfortunately, he gets denied.
And I think you can see the essence of what Rogue's team comp does that. There's a lot of terrain, there's a lot of locking people out from various areas, but they use it kind of in inefficient ways. Of course, the Wukong stops the Azir getting a good ult, and that means that once that is down, the Xerxe is unchecked, and when Xerxe is unchecked, we've seen what they can do on this patch.
Yeah, and early game doesn't matter anymore once you've done this, right? You've just given 3 kills over to Kayle, shut down gold, everything, you're 4k down, now you're even, you get a Baron, you set up, but then XL just make critical mistakes around the map, right? Baron setup can be in many different ways. 1-3-1's the hardest to pull off. 1-4 is one of the safest ways. 5-man mid is the easiest. 5-man mid with that comp, really hard. Very little way of engaging other than a Rakan. But so they go into a 1-3-1, the most difficult way to play the game with Baron because you have 1 weak side, 2 sides you have to play for. So Finn actually gets caught out on that weak side and dies. So then what XL tried to do to compensate for that is, well, we're 4 versus 3 on the top side. Let's engage. Let's look for a fight. Let's try to dive top and try to make something happen. Rogue responds, but they win that as well.
And it feels like this is half Rogue setting up some vision traps, particularly on that bot side. You see some wards in lane, some pink wards to play around, so then the Jarvan gets an angle. The rest of it is XL kind of just playing beyond their safe vision line too, and then fishing for a little too much, particularly that Rakan going up. CC combo comes in. It was just a little too bold, and it's not the first time we've seen this from them now.
Yeah, it's a game a little bit of ping pong going on, right? I mean, Rogue's ahead, they throw, they give Baron. XL then are ahead, and in the space of 30 seconds to 40 seconds, 4 of you have died. You've given over shutdowns, you've lost Baron, all your map controls just fallen apart.
Yeah, it's really sad because I think XL will be kicking themselves about that, specifically because they had gotten that chance. And to close it out over Rogue is going to be amazing for you later in the season. You say this is not the first time we've seen that from XL. What particularly?
So in terms terms of overstaying a little, not necessarily understanding what their safe vision line is, they showed this versus Vitality a little bit too. Now, of course, they ended up winning that game, but it was a close run thing. They ended up maybe throwing it more than they should have done at that point. So this is something I just want to track now and say, okay, XL, when you're in the lead,
Next step, yeah.
let's just make sure that you can close it out cleanly.
Yeah, next step in their development.
Yeah, definitely is. Good foundation, early game not so shaky, but you found windows to get yourself back in, and that's what builds a great team. You know, a team that can contest the title is a team that can snowball early games cleanly, but also come back from deficits and be creative in their plays. Like Nightmare said, it's Rogue's own fault for throwing the game, and it's XL's own fault for throwing the game as well, but there is merit to be given in finding those picks in the first place, so these teams have a lot to work on when it comes to making sure there's stability in the game.
When you're looking at maybe championship candidates, we have Rogue, of course, previously the regular season kings, again with a big win right now, and the key player of the game was Odawamne. What a bounce back. We were memeing, we always meme him, but we were memeing him particularly hard after that first game where he didn't find his groove. This is going to be great.
Well, he hadn't got a kill for like first week or two.
Week.
Such a long time.
Yeah, Odo is kind of like good old reliable. You know, he'll always pick it back up. He'll always be consistent. He's still in a chase for his title, and he's here to play.
Yeah.
I think the one last thing is that, you know, as much as he's reliable too, actually in the last year, this season as well, you know, he had some great DPM games on the Rumble last split, starting to pick up that pace on the GP. He's starting to show again, just flex those muscles again.
Absolutely. We love to see it. Odo flexing his muscles. Now, coming up next, we have an epic support matchup between Hylissang and rookie JeongHoon. So let's hear more from the newcomer himself, as well as Korean expert chronicler on JeongHoon's history.
안녕하세요. 2000년생 2월 22일 한국에서 태어났고 이름은 이정훈입니다. 제가 중학교 1학년 때 시작했고 고등학교 때 접었다가 대학교 들어가서 중퇴하고 20살 후반쯤에 시작했어요. 네. 파이크를 제일 좋아해요. 상대방이랑 심리싸움 하는 걸 좀 좋아해요. 그냥 두뇌 싸움? 그냥 그런 거 봐. 바둑 같은 경우는 수두면서 그런 싸움을 좋아해가지고 네, 심리 싸움을 좋아해요. 그냥 선수보다는 그냥 유명한 팀 그냥 G2랑 그냥 한번 해보고 싶었는데 네, 하고 싶어요. 원래는 영화 보기였는데 프로 생활 시작하고는 딱히 막 취미 한 가지를 정해놓고 하진 않는 것 같아요. 너무 빠져가지고 그럴 거예요. 지금 하면. 감사합니다.
Hey everyone, Chronicler here. I am extremely excited to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite Challengers players, JeongHoon, who, as you might know, isn't Challengers anymore. He's currently playing for Astralis. He's a really cool player that had a pretty rough journey and was still able to make a really big impact, so I wanted to take just a little bit of your time to tell you guys about was JeongHoon always this cool? Why is his hair so majestic? And what was he like in Korea? I might only have time for the final question because there's a lot to cover. He came in the Challenger scene in 2021, spring, and he joined Fnatic, who unfortunately, if you know them in the LCK, are not the best team. They're very lovable, but not necessarily amazing. Same for the Challengers team, and they were 8th in spring, 7th during the summer split, which not really scores to write home about. Challengers has great individual players, but the overall team play is often lacking. And that was honestly the case for Fnatic as well. Unfortunately for them, the only truly good player was in fact JeongHoon. He was the only reason why the team was able to pick up wins, at least somewhat consistently. And he was a very diverse player in that he could do one of two things. Either he would throw a draft curveball by playing very off-meta picks. Obviously Spike was one of the notable ones, but he also loved playing Seraphine, was seen often practicing things like Soraka as well. And then on the flip side, he was, within the context of Challengers, one of the best engageables that we had. So he was really, really all-round a very strong player that would take the rest of his team, even though they didn't really wanna, by the hand, to make sure that they find engages, they find the angles that they needed to win team fights, at least somewhat consistently, to get them some wins, string together at least a couple of victories. And he was so good that he was chosen to represent the LCK as well, or rather Challengers, in the tournament that took place between the LGL Academy and the LPL, or the LDL rather, and Challengers and a bunch of other teams. And he was chosen, even though his team, again, was bottom of the barrel. He was chosen because individually he was just an incredible player. He was also, in my opinion, a big reason of why they won that tournament in the end and were actually able to take the victory in that. JeongHoon is a player that, as I said, has a lot of depth. He's a very entertaining player. The couple of interviews that I have seen with him always very, very funny. Hopefully at some point you guys will get to enjoy that as well. And I'm really happy that you are able to have him in the LEC and that he's able to have a team, because I was personally really hoping for him to make his appearance in the LCK in 2022. That unfortunately wasn't the case, and he also wasn't on the challenger team as the Fnatic Line roster was completely revamped following 2021, because again they didn't do very well. But seeing him do so well in Astralis is really cool, and I hope that he will be able to maintain that level of performance, and I also hope that you guys can give him the support and love that he deserves, because he's a great player and he tries really hard, and I'm sure that he is going to treat you guys with quality gameplay. So hopefully, if you already appreciated him, then now you do even more, and otherwise you get to like him a little bit more. That's all from me. So hopefully he will continue his good performances, even though I can't watch the LEC because it's way too late for me. I do need to sleep at some point. So have a very good evening and enjoy the rest of the matches.
Great to hear from Chronicler all the way over in the LCK. It was great to see him at MSI as well. It's a wonderful lad.
Great insight as well
Yeah.
into JeongHoon. Obviously has had a notable appearance so far in the LEC, subverting many expectations, I would say.
Yeah.
Coming into the split, many believed him to, well, be no one. Someone that really had no expectations on his shoulders, and maybe he can do something different for Astralis, but he has been standing out as a stellar player and one of the star players really on this roster alongside Xerxe in terms of their early game impact.
I think Astralis generally just seems to have leveled up a lot coming into summer. Fnatic still struggling a little bit to find their full identity, sitting at 3-2 alongside Astralis. One of them will go to 4-2 and join XL after this game. Let's find out. I was too slow on that. I got nowhere near the drop.
That's it, just keep talking.
You're really good at getting on the
keep
drop,
talking,
though.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can just...
Yeah, just keep ruin the ambiance, you know, let's just...
Your voice is melodic enough for me.
Oh. Try and sweet talk your way out of this.
You know.
Oh, very clever. All right, well, welcome everyone. We're about to be jumping into draft between Astralis and Fnatic. Believe it or not, both these teams tied in the standings here in week 3. Upset seems to be in a good mood, having a bit of a giggle alongside the rest of Fnatic. No idea what they're laughing about.
Listening back to Perk's casting the last game, it was an enjoyable experience.
Let's have a look at what they will ban away first. The Seraphine, we just heard Chronicler talking about it. JeongHoon, very flexible and creative in his approach to the draft in terms of what he wants to play. The Lucian, no surprise, being taken away from Fnatic. Very flexible with the champion, of course. And it seems that for the time being, once again, Fnatic banning away this Yuumi, saying that they don't want to play it. They'll ban it regardless of what side they're on. They don't care, not interested. It's not really a Hylissang champion. I believe that he could play it.
Yes.
You know? I'm very confident that he could.
It would just take every muscle in his body to not demount and flash forward.
Guys, watch. I can watch this Yuumi play. Yeah. I call it the Yuumi sec. And it's like, what?
It's like the Janna sec, where you flash over them and knock them back. But with Wukong and Gangplank banned away, those final 2 first picks, is Azir immediately for Humanoid. Will be his first game on it this split.
Okay, well, it doesn't evoke excitement within me, I'll be honest. What could evoke excitement is if, you know, you had a Z counter pick. Just a thought, Astralis. Obviously you can't hear me, but just a suggestion.
We did also see Azir top into Gangplank over in the LCK a little while ago, but I expect it will be Azir Victor in the mid lane.
Oh, good, fun.
And neutralize the mid lane, and the rest of the map will be 4v4, which is what Perk said Azir tries to do.
Okay, so we're not going to really talk about mid lane this game, but
Cool.
it does suggest that both teams hedging towards scaling mid lane, scaling team fight comps rather. Ooh!
Okay, Xerxe. Second.
Our first Belveth
Yeah,
cast.
but I also don't think people remember what games we've cast generally in our lives.
Okay, you hit me with the technical.
It's the second.
Vidius. Technically.
I'll stop. Okay, it's the second Belveth of the day. Our first Belveth.
Our first Belveth cast. Yes, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, so am I.
Her passive is longer than my dissertation was, and I'm excited to figure that one out. Xerxe going to be locked on the side of Fnatic, so it seems that Fnatic getting themselves a number of power picks. One of the things I will say about Belveth is that, in my experience, she does have a bit of a problem getting kited. She does, of course, have her little dashes, but range, I do feel, is something that she could struggle with.
I get that.
Now, when I look at Fnatic's Azir plus Xerxe, I am a little concerned for Xerxe, but he, for those that don't know, back in the days, he was the guy that always came out with the new junglers.
Warwick, he was
Rumble jungle,
Rumble jungle.
Warwick, Zac. He would play all sorts of crazy stuff.
And this is when those were crazy.
They were,
Because
yes.
now, obviously, they're much more mainstream.
Weirdly enough. He was ahead of his time. But yeah, he's no stranger to these new picks. He's very quick to pick them up. So I'm curious to see what he's come up with. Alongside the Twitch, Kobbe has played this once so far in the split. And he was hyper-aggressive on it. I believe they did lose that game. But still, I like Kobbe's aggression that we've seen from him so far this split. And I'm excited to see him on the scaling AD carry once again. I'm curious as to what's going to be paired up alongside it. With the Zilean being banned, it does suggest to me that Astralis is thinking about Rakan.
I really like the Zilean ban when you have a Xerxe, especially when it's Hylissang, because you know he's not playing the Yuumi because that's banned away. The Zilean Xerxe is just disgusting. I also think Zilean is like sleeper OP, and just not many supports know how to play him that well, which is why we don't see him that much. But does what every good enchanter does, makes it very hard to kill your AD carry, and there's the Rakan that you were talking about. Of course, Zilean's Time Warp on a Rakan is not the most enjoyable experience for the support player.
And a Renata to respond. Not too surprising. This will be Hylissang's second Renata of the split. And then the Gragas. So basically, Fnatic have said, Chachi, so far this split, three of the 4 champions that you play have been banned. Your only other champion is Sion. And we're going to pick Gragas preemptively because that's what we expect you to play. And lo and behold.
Read him like a book.
Yeah, so good prep from Fnatic's side there. Kind of challenging Vizicsacsi's champion pool and feeling confident in their ability to match up against that. I will say Fnatic do have a lot of magic damage. Volibear, Gragas, Azir, Xerxe. While typically, of course, we'll be building AD and we'll have a lot of AD, there is actually a lot of AP scaling in her kit as well. And Renata. So Fnatic have to be cautious about that. I wonder if they'll build Wunder full tank or if he'll go for a full AP build that he's showcased already so far this split. But when we look at the comps, Fnatic do have very good scaling. Astralis the same. I think the biggest difference is this jungle matchup. We've already seen the Bel'Veth earlier in the day and how prevalent the jungler can be when given resources. We even saw that Bel'Veth split pushing in the side lane, right? Because she does just scale so well the longer the game goes. So I kind of want to give the scaling advantage to Astralis, but perhaps with the range difference, given the fact that they do have an Azir and a Xerxe, will play a large factor as the game gets later and later into the game. We'll have to wait and see how these comps shake out. A lot of engage on the side of Astralis is another thing to take into consideration with both the Sion and the Rakan.
A lot of disengage on the side of Fnatic though. Gragas and Renata very good at just pushing away the enemy team. Emperor's Divide does the same. Xerxe can dash out.
Yep.
It's going to be hard for Astralis to find fights, and I think a lot of their power comes from how this Bel'Veth plays in the early game, whether they can get her ahead, because that's when she shines. If she falls behind, she is less of a champion. We'll see if Astralis are able to get Xerxe ahead as we enter our 4th game of the day. I heard 2 Astralis cheers. I've been here for quite a few years, Vedius.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard Astralis cheers before.
Wow.
It's their fans out in force today, it seems.
I mean, they're an exciting team to watch right now.
Hylissang can handshake here, but Chachi with a good little sidestep.
So let's talk about Astralis.
Let's do it.
Because if you all look at the top of your screen, those score lines are tied. Now, for Fnatic fans, you've all been here. You've seen that scoreline at the start of the split before. Often it's swapped. It's not uncharacteristic for Fnatic to have a bit of a mixed start to the season, but it's very surprising to see Astralis have this kind of start. Now, let's bring up the caveat, Medic, because the caveat is always going to be the strength of schedule. Now, you can see here the games that they've lost at the bottom, and then the games that they've won. Okay, so they've lost to G2 and Rogue, and they've beaten BDS, Misfits, and SK. So what this clearly tells us is that they're clearly better than the bottom teams, but they haven't quite been able to defeat the top teams. Now, as we've seen from Rogue, who again, like, sure, aside from their game today, they can still contend with XL, who is considered one of our top teams, so like no disrespect to them losing to Rogue, but it's one of those situations where how good is Astralis really?
Yeah.
Are they being made to look much better than they are simply because of the opposition that they've been playing against, or are they really a good team that can contest? Because based on their schedule so far, it seems that they're sitting quite comfortably in the middle, and this is a great game, especially to take advantage of a struggling Fnatic, one could argue, based on what we've seen from them so far this split, as to whether or not they could lay claim to the title of we definitely should be contesting those top tier teams.
It's a question really for them if they are looking at 4th place or 6th or 7th place at the end of the season. Kobbe here rooted. And is going to have to use the cleanse. They're going to try and turn some damage back onto Upset, who is ignited, has already popped the heal. Kobbe could flash forward here for the final order, can't quite find it. Hylissang still trading in, flashes himself. JeongHoon with a good flash over the wall will escape.
Really good
Level
flash.
2 now hit for Kobbe.
So Kobbe had his Q start, which does give you that bonus attack speed when you jump out of it. If he'd had E, that could have been a kill, but of course, like, regardless of what he started with, I'm not saying that he was wrong in that. That's a large part of why Upset was able to get away there. And you can see that Kobbe also just ticked over to level 2 as well. So Upset was very close to losing his life. Kobbe still has his flash, but unsurprisingly, Fnatic's bot lane looking for very aggressive trades early on into the game.
Xerxe will be spotted as Razork used the fact they had bot lane prior to walk his way up here.
I think this is smart. I think that Bel'Veth is weakest very early on into the game. Volibear known for being a very effective early game ganking jungler, and also can go toe-to-toe against many other junglers in the game. But Xerxe, is he going to fight him? I'd love to see if he feels confident to do this.
Slap him, Xerxe! Razork looking for the flash bear slap. It's a possibility on the Volibear.
Just watching him for
You're going to dash, you're going to slap. Has the smite. It's going to be a smite fight, you have to feel. JeongHoon only level 5 right now. Hylissang already level 4. Smite goes out for Xerxe. Dajor coming in from the side.
Wow, so
no slappage happened, Venice.
So the biggest thing that happened there was the mid lane interference. Dajor made his presence known, which allowed Astralis to have the numbers advantage around that bot lane, well, that bot jungle skirmish rather. And that means that Xerxe doesn't lose anything. Razork just invested a lot of his time into trying to steal away the Gromp, and isn't quite able to do it. And now look at this window. Xerxe, he's going to walk over a ward. He will be spotted, but he's going to be like, okay, I guess I'll just take your Raptors. He has Smite up as well. Razork will be able to collapse, but it doesn't matter. Xerxe's already gone what he wanted, and he's out.
Oh, can't dash over walls.
Flash.
Chase is on here. Xerxe able to...
Wow, Xerxe. I would have popped Ghost immediately there. So I respect his confidence. He was like, you won't, you won't, you won't. I knew it.
Xerxe coming back in at 7 sacks of that Lavender passive right now.
There's no way he can make this gank work, right?
You say that. This is Xerxe. He can do a lot of things. Could just look for the knock-up here. Humanoid dodges away and might just be trying to make sure that Dajor has some time to clear out the wave. Allows Dajor a recall. Knock-up down towards the bottom side. No ignite on JeongHoon for the 3 seconds time, so no real threat of a kill there. But that battle in the jungle is one I did want to highlight and I do want to look at throughout the rest of the game, because Xerxe's actually had a really good start to the split, especially in his early game. Always there, always involved. 91% kill participation is high even for a jungler. And then he's actually involved in a lot of kills alongside being there for the majority of his team's kills.
And what I think is really important to highlight with regards to the stats is that both of these junglers are actually very similar in terms of their presence for the team. When a jungler has a high KP at 14, what that basically means is they've been involved in a lot of the kills that happen in the early game. Now, typically, you have to do a little bit more research into investigate, well, why are those early game kills happening? Is it because they're looking for a lot of ganks? Is it because they just happen to show up when the fights are already happening from their laners? I can tell you right now that for Xerxe in particular, he and JeongHoon are making all of the early game action happen. It is that duo in particular that will group up, roam around, and look for these plays. Whereas for Razork, while a lot of aggression often happens around him, what we often see is him trying to play around his pushing lanes, and then Hylissang will kind of join up with him to offer support. But it's quite... It's similar but different in the way that the two jungle supports engage with each other. So keep an eye on Xerxe. Of course, playing this champion, he's not really looking for a lot of early game aggression. As I say that, he's actually looking bot lane for maybe a bit of a gank here.
He won't be spotted if he goes for the gank with that blast cone. Decides against it. Dragon has been started up by Fnatic. May look to see if Upset comes across. Hylissang dodging in and out. Lots of pings coming out. Upset's going to try and jump across the wall. Manages to escape for the moment. Hylissang's going to get knocked up. Handshake brings Xerxe back. JeongHoon perhaps looking for an engage, but from the mid lane, Humanoid was the first to move. And because of that, Astralis knew they couldn't take the fight.
Exactly that, Medic. It was that mid diff terms of their arrival time, I guess I should say. But there's just a bit of weird posturing right now.
You can try and stop them getting back in
I don't
here.
know
Flash
if
is
they
back
win
up.
this, though.
How close is Xerxe to 6? He's only about a third of the way there, so still a while for him.
And as a reminder, use this small window to promo our new overlay. You may see that here in the LEC we have some cool functions. Show us some of the cool stuff we can do. There's the runes, for example. Humanoid. Ooh, Flash in the mid lane. Ultimate will be dropped. Good trade from Dajor.
Humanoid running first strike in the mid lane. Not the more aggressive electrocute that we do see on some Azirs in solo queue.
But this often you can leverage the range and you can generate a bit of early gold as well. I think it makes sense in this matchup. We can quickly go back. You can also see those little upset just ticked over to level 6. These small pink bars next to the icons also indicate the XP. And we have a bunch of other features. Medic, can you show us also the XP in terms of who right now is leading? Yeah, so you can see Wunder right now is leading in XP. Dajor very closely behind him alongside Humanoid.
Dior's taken over.
Yep. And so we also have total gold.
Oh, you're just going to make me go through all of these?
Yes,
Wait,
I am.
do you want the gold per champion, or do you want the gold difference graph?
Show
We'll do this
want.
one. Here we are.
There we go. We can also show you a gold graph. So you can see the Fnatic. It's important to look at the left-hand side, the x-axis. I forget what axis it is.
Like the one along the bottom, x-axis.
No, the one along the left. So that's a y-axis. Yeah, because even though that graph looks big, of course, it's relative to the amount of gold.
It's only 900 gold.
It's only 900.
We can also do this one.
We can also show you the total gold presented by Santander. So we have a lot of features.
We've also got this one.
And we're also constantly looking for feedback. So if you do have any feedback, be sure to tweet at LEC
There's
or
also
head
this
over
one.
to the Discord. Head over to the Discord and you can give your feedback in the feedback channel. We really do appreciate
this one back
it.
up if you want.
But it's really cool. We really like it. We're going to keep playing with it. And we've already made some adjustments from last week to this week. In particular, we've made the font a little bit bigger down the bottom so we are listening to your feedback. But let's get back into the game. As they look for a gank from Wunder. Volibear is on the way from the river.
Wunder does have flash here. We'll try and use it to dodge away from the knockup. Still gets hit with the decimating smash, but Razork on his way in. Stormbringer possibilities. Xerxe going to try and get away, but only has the ghost, remember, and has no dashes available to him. Stormbringer in. Xerxe dashes down. Razork still looking for the chase. That tower's going to come back online, and it's the wrong time for Razork. He still gets first blood. Counter killed as Chachi tries to dodge away from Wunder, who's going back in. JeongHoon here in time. Dajor going to join the race. Shuffle back. Dajor now caught out by Hylissang, but Kobbe's here first. And upset is nowhere to be found in the mid lane, pushing minions, and because of that his teammates die. Humanoid falls. Hylissang trying to get away here and will manage to escape, but Astralis come out to the good 2-for-1.
That they do, Medic. Astralis are able to turn around, well, a counter gank, I suppose you can say, from Fnatic. It was Astralis that initiated the play, looking for an opportunity onto Wunder, who ends up losing his flash. But with Razork making his way up the river and knowing that they could win the 2v2, Fnatic committed to the fight. Of course, while that was happening, all the other pieces on the map were also moving as well, and we ended up in this giant brawl, which we can break down when we get the replay. But in terms of overall outcomes, you can see Fnatic still hold on to the gold lead, but Astralis secure the kill lead. So this is what we see. Ultimate comes through from Wunder. He's mainly just trying to buy time for now. He's going to use what he can to dodge away from the knockup. Flashes out from the initial knockup from Xerxe. Still gets hit by Chachi. Then Razork joins. You can see the damage reduction coming out from Xerxe to mitigate that all-in burst. And then the dive comes in from Razork. Xerxe at this point, thanks to the protection from JeongHoon, is able to live, but we don't have time. We're back in the action.
Astralis looking for that herald. It's so big if you can get to your true form, and Xerxe is awakened. JeongHoon the first to fall, but Razork really has nowhere to get out. Upset's going to join the fray with the lightning crash, and the rest of Fnatic are on their way. 5v3 off towards the top side, and the rockets are bouncing around. Upset with the chain lightning, gets one, gets two, and Fnatic able to pounce in the top lane.
So while Astralis do secure themselves the herald, it's Fnatic that walk away with 3 kills. They were ready on the map, and Astralis could not respond. That gold lead continues to mount, and Astralis find themselves falling behind very quickly in this early game.
And you might wonder, why do Astralis invest so much in that Rift Herald? It's so important for Bel'Veth to kill that Rift Herald early, to get to her true form. It lasts for 3 minutes when you get there, but it gives you so much more utility, it gives you more health, it means your dash can go over walls now, and it just makes it so much harder for the enemy team to play around you. That's why Astralis invested so much into it, that's why Vitality invested so much into it in the game earlier today, and Xerxe here, slapping the hell out of those Razor chickens, will have to use that advantage that he's been given to find a way back for Astralis.
Let's have a look back at the setup of this. Of course, Fnatic, the biggest thing here is the Scion chooses not to commit to the TP. They do secure that initial help, but then the damage from Razork this early on. Look at how quickly that duo is able to kill JeongHoon without the engage, and Razork getting the heal from Upset as well, along with the fact that Dajor does not have his flash. it's just an easy cleanup for Fnatic. They're able to chase down. They're the ones with the numbers advantage. Razork also doesn't lose his life. And overall, a great play from the side of Fnatic. 3 end up dying, and Fnatic continue to extend their gold lead.
You can see gold leads in every single lane for them now, apart from the jungle where Xerxe's only 100 gold ahead. Nothing too consequential there for him. He's going to go back, gets himself the Blade of the Ruined King to kick off. This alongside a Kraken Slayer is what we tend to see on Bel'Veth, and then you can go a little bit tankier after that. But Blade of the Ruined King, your first true spike, and Astralis have to use that to claw back some of this 2,000 gold lead that Fnatic have garnered.
You can see, if you look at the middle of our scoreboard where all the gold is currently sitting, and it's actually quite evenly spread out across the board in favor of Fnatic. So it's not that a single carry has so much more gold than their opposition, it's that Fnatic are really finding advantages all across the board. Looks like Wunder is choosing to go for that full AP approach, giving more AP damage. As Humanoid continues to mount pressure in mid, is able to just walk away from that small knockup. JeongHoon and Fnatic showcasing that their early weak struggles haven't really meant too much. And I think that, again, what we talked about at the beginning of this game was kind of reaffirming your position here in the league. Are Astralis actually good enough to be able to contest the top of the table? And Fnatic, have they fallen too short? Are they still able to themselves clash with the best that we have here in Europe? And right now, Fnatic definitely looking to be in form for the time being. Razork has been involved in every single kill. And then it comes back to that early start, right? When action is happening, Razork is a part of it.
In case you're wondering what those tiny little void worms are, they're remoras. It's a school of fish that Xerxe's brought up. Whenever you're in your ascended form after you've claimed either a Rift Herald or a Baron, if a minion dies around you, you spawn one of these little fish and they run down the lane for you and sacrifice themselves for the greater good of taking down those towers. Xerxe looking to maybe take a little bit more health off that tower as Dayo's got a little caught. Stormbringer a possibility here for Razork. There's the stun. Gravity Field coming down as well. Dayo's able to dodge away. Xerxe trying to join this. JeongHoon coming in with the charm, and they're looking for all the damage, but the hostile takeover will knock them back. Xerxe getting onto Hylissang here. Decimating Smash, looking for the knock-up as well. And Hylissang, even with the stopwatch, can't really stop time for long enough. Humanoid and Razork will be able to defend him. Astralis backing away there. Felt a little bit like they could have continued in the fight, but respecting the fact Fnatic still had 3 members alive.
Well played there from Fnatic, 3 versus 4, and they're able to get away with it. Xerxe, it's one of those things where you don't really feel scared when that Bel'Veth is running at you, because this early on, she feels so squishy, very vulnerable. And Razork comes along with his massive HP bar. He's a giant Thunder Bear that's ready to fight, ready to stun you. And as long as they keep Humanoid alive, they're always going to have enough damage to be able to contest. So Fnatic recognizing their strength early on in the game. Sometimes new champions can be a little intimidating. You can kind of... I swear to God, I've heard pro players come onto a stage and be like, what does this champ do again?
Yeah.
But no, it seems Fnatic very well versed in the strengths and weaknesses of the champion, able to play around it, and Astralis don't get much off the back of that Herald either, so Fnatic in good form for the time being.
Yeah, in a really strong position. Upset as well, 20 CS up over Kobbe. He's been farming a lot while Kobbe has been sort of left on an island by JeongHoon a little bit of this game, and makes it obviously a bit more tricky for the Twitch. You can see a great example of it here. JeongHoon's like, I'm going mid lane, you deal with Upset and Hylissang down towards this bottom side. And for the moment, Kobbe is, I mean, he's weathering the storm, but Upset is only getting stronger as the game goes on, and Xerxe obviously a huge threat when you get to later portions of the matchup.
Definitely true. Kobbe, of course, doesn't help that Upset got 2 kills in that top lane Herald fight, but the game's going to be a little slow for a little while now. The Herald spawns in about 45 seconds, which could be an objective that teams contest, but it's without the dragons, it's one of those things where I think both teams are just quite happy to sit back and scale up, and I think that's the other thing to know. Astralis do still have pretty good scaling. Twitch, Victor, Bel'Veth can be very strong. It's going to come down to this range element from Fnatic. How significant will it be as the flash comes out from Xerxe?
It's a threat of the Night Harvester Gragas as well. Usually this sort of matchup is just a wet noodle fight, but Wunder, once again building full AP as you mentioned, makes it very difficult for Xerxe to survive the lane. Obviously, he's about 1,400 gold ahead that first strike, giving him a lot of extra gold. Astralis trying to defend the mid lane here. Something Humanoid's been doing really well, although he's been a little less involved than the rest of Fnatic, and it's been more, you know, Razork, Upset, and Hylissang kind of teaming up. He's constantly pushing out the wave. And so whenever Xerxe looks to make a play down towards the bottom side of the map, it's Humanoid that moves first. And because of that, Astralis, unless they can find the play immediately, just have to retreat and accept that they're going to be at a numbers disadvantage very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, there was that one time where Dajor showed up at the blue buff ahead of Humanoid, but that's because he literally came from base and then walked towards blue. So Humanoid's done a good job of maintaining pressure in mid. You can see that being, well, you can see evidence of that as a result of the CS discrepancy. But Fnatic continued to control all of the objectives. Wunder playing well in the isolated 1v1 will secure himself the first tower of the game. And overall, it's just dubs for Fnatic across the board.
Dubs like all day, boy, you better know.
Boy, you better know him. Know it?
You know it, you sung it, right? Like,
yeah, my English has not been great today.
it's a struggle sometimes.
Sometimes it's a struggle.
So
It's
Fnatic-
Friday.
yep.
Friday, and as you know, we've got to get down on Friday.
We do have to get down on Friday.
Looking forward to the weekend. What about
Yeah,
you?
because it's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday. What?
Sunday. Yep.
That's what comes after Friday. Rift put down in the mid lane is Dragon. It's going to be started by Astralis. They're looking to get Xerxe into that true form once again. You do prefer to take the Herald and the Baron because that's when you get the enhanced Void Coral from your claim, but here he will still get into that true form. Rift will get the tower in the mid lane. Fnatic perhaps looking for the fight. JeongHoon on a good flank position here. Xerxe is going to claim it. Razork going in, hostile takeover. You got to watch it as Wunder's going to join the fight as well. Unstoppable onslaught out, hostile takeover just short. Chachi should be able to retreat, but they managed to get onto the backline as Humanoid will fall first. He shovels 2 in, but he's going to die even through the bailout. Chachi goes down as well. Hylissang trying to trade in here with Wunder, going to join the fray as well. Upset, building up for Wunder. It's a double with the barrel. Hit him with the belly, man. As Wunder drinks him under the table. Kobbe tries to retreat, but Razork is having none of it. Stormbringer forward, upset with another.
Beautiful engage from Wunder after the initial fight did not look great for Fnatic. Astralis, they were able to disengage from that dragon relatively cleanly. They did take a decent amount of damage, but hang on a second. Hang on, is this Bel'Veth things?
Upset. He's Daigo. He can dodge out of that combo.
Wow, that was close. That was a lot of damage from Xerxe. Shows you some of the later game threats that does exist for this champion.
But it also shows something you mentioned, Big Bam, which is it's hard to lock down this Fnatic lineup. Like, if Xerxe just jumps across the wall, if you're shuffled away by the Victor, it's very tricky.
So what we need to keep our eyes on is Dajor and Humanoid in this fight, because while the initial fight is just tanks kind of slapping onto each other, look at Humanoid's positioning here, close to a wall, but he ends up walking straight onto the gravity field, which then sets up for a really good fight for Astralis. Humanoid does what he can with the rest of his life as Chachi ends up dropping, and it's that ultimate from Wunder into then this re-engage flash EQ. Beautiful Gragas play from Wunder. And he had a standout performance last week. He's continuing to do it again this week. But a great team fight overall from Fnatic.
It just shows the power of the AP Gragas as well. In situations like that, if you can find a couple, you can...
He's getting down on Friday.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Wunder with almost
Wow.
3,000 damage.
Humanoid died first.
But that's the power of bailout, right? Even if you don't get a kill, you have that time.
Yeah.
And he used that time to go in, to shuffle them in, to make Kobbe burn his flash. Became very tricky then for Astralis to actually fight the rest of the battle, and now 7,000 gold ahead. Fnatic looking fine form in this game. And if this has been spring, you know, it's a given that Fnatic would beat Astralis. But Astralis has started summer strongly.
Well, I don't know about that. Fnatic's mid-game last split was very questionable.
That is true. Hylissang a little caught out here. JeongHoon going in as well as they look for Wunder. Pops the stopwatch. Decimates smash short. Razork trying to come in from the side. Xerxe dodging in and out. Barrel goes down. Humanoid slides and glides onto the back line. And that's one down. It's only JeongHoon now, but there's Dajor to follow. Chachi getting chased off by Upset. They might just leave him on tank duty. He's left to his own devices. Upset and Wunder will finally chase him down. Chachi dodging, flashing. Ultra Shock laser just short.
No.
Last go? No. In
Flash from
mid-A,
Upset.
guys. Steal away. Go on, Chachi. You can get it. You can get it, Chachi.
Wait.
He can't get it.
Okay, you can't get it. Wow. Okay, so Astralis, it looked like that they were punishing Fnatic there. Hylissang looked like he was getting caught out. The TP then comes through from Wunder, and you think, well, he's going to die next as well. But a really good stopwatch buys time for the rest of Fnatic to rejoin the fray.
He's in true
and
form.
win a big team fight.
He can dash across this wall. Wunder's going to use the barrel to
He's
try
not
and
going to
spot
steal
it.
it, right?
No.
No, he's not.
He's slapping him. He's slapping
Still
him.
alive?
He dodges away. 75% damage reduction, Vedius. That's an Alistair ultimate. on a normal ability. And you get to slap
Wait,
people while you do it.
That's not even.
No, because
level 1 Alistar.
Alistar ultimate is 45, 55, 65. So that's actually, I think, 10% more damage reduction than an Alistar ultimate.
Hey, but you can't move.
but
So
you gotta slap people.
let's have a look at this engage. Hylissang gets caught out. The TP comes through, and you're thinking, oh no, Fnatic have thrown. This is going to be a Baron. But look, Wunder buys a lot of time. Razork now joins the fight. A big ultimate splits away Xerxe from the backline, which then gives access to that backline with Humanoid's engagement. Razork then follows up, forces Xerxe and Kobbe to run away. But yeah, Fnatic just playing these team fights much better than Astralis right now.
They really are. I will say, it isn't as strong as a level 3 Alistar ultimate. It's only 70% damage reduction, and a level 3 Alistar ultimate is 75% damage reduction. So when Alistar hits level 16, which supports doing every single game, as we know.
You little salty man.
I'm just waiting for Neela to come out so I can get all my XP
It's
down
just,
towards the bottom
I was
lane.
just expecting you to go, in this essay, I will explain why Alistar deserves buffs. Xerxe now getting threatened a little bit by Wunder, but the rest of Fnatic hovering around the bot tower as they steal away jungle camps, siege onto the tier 2. Astralis, they're going to take 1 tower back in the top lane, if they even will. Can we have a look at the HP of that Observers?
I don't think it's going down with Humanoid there.
I don't think Dajor's going to be able to take that tower in the top lane.
Wunder's sitting at 3 items as well on this Gragas, as you said.
Yeah,
second really strong performance by him
still
in a row.
very healthy. Humanoid also going to force Dajor out. Oh, and here comes Upset.
2.5 items on the Xerxe. Lightning Crash goes down, and Dajor, you got Flash, but no point in using it. Humanoid takes his 2nd kill of the game.
Yep. At this point, it feels like the game is done and dusted. Astralis, they weren't really able to put up much of a fight. They were able to get a couple early kills, but aside from that, it's pretty much been Fnatic's game from start to finish. And I think the Fnatic fans will be pretty happy about that. Fnatic, they've been a little shaky at the start of the split, and I think they needed a convincing win. Getting one against Astralis, who's literally tied with you in the standings, will help, well, create a gap and kind of reaffirm that Fnatic is slowly bouncing back. You can see Upset 6-2 and 0 right now. He doesn't really die in the early game, and in general, he doesn't really die. So when he's fed, that's definitely scary.
Disengage is disgusting, though. JeongHoon going in with a Charm Wonder still can't be caught. Unstoppable Onslaught comes up short. And Xerxe is chasing him down. The power of the Gragas is just so easy to escape, and Astralis really just pulling at anything they can find, trying to find any opportunity to shut down someone from Fnatic, but they are currently 11,500 gold in the hole. And I will say, at 24 minutes, that's a sizable margin.
I always forget the name of the song. There's this great clip of like a streamer, they're like just playing a game, they're going ba 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 ba.
Oh yeah, the one that's really relaxed.
Yeah, and I imagine that's Wunder when he's getting ganked by 3 people bot lane.
And JeongHoon's just the other guy.
Like, please stop guiding me, please.
It's possible we're the only 2 that get that reference.
Maybe,
by the way.
but someone will get it. Someone will know.
Sure.
Someone in the Twitch chat, or the YouTube chat, or the
Discord
Twitter,
chat.
or the Reddit, or the Discord. Someone will know. Someone will get the reference. And that's all that matters, that one person.
Speaking of the Discord, if you have any suggestions, any feedback on the overlay that we're still trialing out, you can go to the feedback channel there. And Discord.com/LEC. I feel like it's .gg/LEC or something, but
yeah.
we actually don't know. So just look up LEC Discord.
We weren't prepared for this, Medic.
But you were the one that's just like...
I thought I knew it. I was like, I feel like I've heard it so many times that I thought I knew it, and then when the words came out, I didn't.
They are tricky things, the words.
They are.
I struggle with them daily.
They be slippery.
Ooh, Razork. Smart use of the lightning there, just to check the bush and spots the fact that Astralis were lying in wait.
Discord.lec.gg. There it is.
Nice.
I knew it would come to me.
Discord.lec.gg.
That's kind of what I think it is. If I'm wrong, it's going to be comedic, because I said it with such conviction, but this is what I now believe it to be. Fnatic looking to try and end this game right now. They've... Ooh, good knock up there from Xerxe. Razork still is the fast.
They're very speedy, but it's just going to run and hide in the jungle for a second. You got it correct, by the way. I checked.
Nice.
100% right.
Fnatic looking to try and end the game right here. See if they can break into the base. The siege is pretty effective. Razork just bullying Astralis away right now.
And Razork always has a Stormbringer to turn this off as well, if he wants to. They're going to push forward. No minions with them means that tower is a little bit more tanky. Xerxe down to a 3rd HP, and Fnatic can just wait for the next wave.
Handshake, is that the skill where you drag, move someone? it was used on Chachi as he was channeling his Q there to interrupt and clear some of the waves. So well played there by Hylissang. Good use of the Renata. So they secure the tower. So Fnatic taking their time. It feels like a longer game, but we're only 26 minutes in. Fnatic very patiently controlling the game, making sure they have full vision control on both sides of the jungle, really suffocating Astralis out and limiting their options back into the game. If you're finding a way for Astralis to kind of win, it's really off the back of Kobbe and maybe Xerxe getting a good fight. I think there is good scaling there, but we talked about it in the draft. I think their biggest problem is just this range. Oh, you know, you talked about the gauntlet.
Crossfire, yeah, second on Xerxe. It gives them a bit more tankiness, especially if you aren't able to maintain your true form.
I also think it just makes it slightly easier to stick onto a target.
Yeah, because you got the slow.
Yeah,
100%,
so
right?
You will be losing out a little bit on damage, but we'll see how that comes to fruition.
I mean, with the way this game's gone, I wouldn't be surprised if Xerxe's sitting at only like 50 stacks on his passive right now. You do want to get that scaling up as much as possible. Infinite attack speed scaling on the Bel'Veth, a possibility, but right now Xerxe's struggling.
Yeah.
48?
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you, observers.
Oh, we can also see the Anathemas is on him as well. I think that might be new in the spectator overlay.
No, you can always see the debuff that's on you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the problem is
you can't click on the person to see who is applied.
It's hard. Yeah, that's the weird thing to me. Yeah.
That makes sense. As Fnatic push down the mid lane, a tower sacrificing the top side of the map to do it, but it does feel a little bit like Fnatic have just got this game in the bag and it's theirs to lose, and they're probably just waiting out the Infernal Soul here. 23 seconds away. Astralis could try and sneak a Baron. Xerxe with the Baron is strong. JeongHoon has been here for a very long time. Looking for that flank opportunity. If he can get onto Upset and Humanoid, he can turn the tides of this battle as Wunder looks to go in. Flashes away, unstoppable onslaught used. They're looking for Wunder, but the rest of the team is entirely isolated. Xerxe stunned up first. Wunder low, doesn't have the Zhonya's as Dajor goes forward. Barrow used as well. Kobbe on the back line, trying to put the dash down onto Razork, who jump away, slide away by Humanoid as well. JeongHoon's going to have to try and dodge back towards his teammate here, but no one dies. Fnatic will walk away. Upset still full HP, full mana.
Ooh. Okay, so it was a weird fight, mainly because Razork is starting this one off. We've got to talk about this for a second because Astralis, they're not in a position to contest right now. It's Fnatic that hold the mid wave. And what I will say is Astralis looking for a fight there is not a bad decision. Hard engaging onto Wunder, I think, is the questionable part about it, because they committed so much into trying to kill him, and then he just used his ultimate to immediately disengage. The situation that created, though, was Fnatic then became split up, because Razork is trying to dive the backline without proper support, which then allowed Kobbe to turn around a 1v1 and almost kill Razork. But because Astralis don't actually find any kills, when they look back at the match state, they realize they don't have any pushing waves, they don't have any vision control anywhere, and the fight idea, I think, was good. Debatable in terms of its execution. Okay.
That's a 4-item Gragas for you.
That's a 4-item Gragas, yep. Level 16 as well. With him out of the way, Fnatic, they can look for another fight.
Razork's on the flank here. Shirley is popped by JeongHoon. Humanoid trying to get in there, looking for Xerxe first. JeongHoon's going to dodge to the side, doesn't get the knock-up. Quickness as well, has to flash. Infernal Soul doing work there for Fnatic. Kobbe's going to join the fray, but doesn't really have a way to get into this fight. Super Minions pushing in that mid lane. They'll be about 45 seconds from the Nexus towers as they clear out that wave. Xerxe's trying to step forward, but he's at a 2-level disadvantage now. Made difficult for the Astralis jungler to really find too much. 500 damage from the Ultra Shock laser. Xerxe going in once again. Razork still has the Stormbringer. He is safe as houses in the enemy jungle here. And Kobbe, that's another 540. He's forced to go back to his base. Can heal up, of course, with the Blade of the Ruin King, but Fnatic will start up the Baron. Humanoid and Upset can do it across the wall. And Razork comes in to help out as well. With the TP going down towards the bottom side, it looks like Astralis have given up the ghost on this one. And you have to wonder at what point they're going to be able to find a fight as the Baron does fall. Fnatic secure it. Wunder looks for some more damage.
He's just playing with him now, isn't he? He's just, well, my ult's off cooldown. What else am I going to... Look at that cooldown. Look at it.
It's a quarter of the way.
It's just, that's disgusting. I'm curious. I think I can check how much CDR he has.
You press a little arrow next to it.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. 96. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Dajor was able to get one tower down towards the bottom side. That is a bounty for Astralis, but they lose their top lane inhibitor for it. I didn't even actually get the tower. He's just standing in a bush. Wondering if Fnatic will go any further. Now he'll get the tower, so it will be a bounty for them, but they are, 13,000 gold in the hole, and any semblance of hope for them in this game is well and truly extinguished as the TP comes in. You know what I love from Hylissang there?
You try to give him a shield
He
before
throws
TP.
the shield back. It's like, if you kill him, that's an assist for me. We've all done that as a support.
Hey, you got him min-max, bro.
Yep.
Pro play life. Look, he's only been involved in 6 of the 12 kills. His KP stat's going to be ruined. Fun fact, Wunder's ultimate has a 40-second cooldown.
And how much damage does it do if you...
How much damage does it do?
Yeah, because I think it's
I think
it's
check of that.
1,000.
Let's have a look. It does 804.
That's a sizable chunk for a 40-second cooldown.
For context, Kobbe has 2,000 HP.
Okay, so it's a third of his HP every single time. Upset also doing the damage across the wall. Hostile takeover, just short of Xerxe there as Vizicsacsi look for something. Razork a little bit deep under the tower, but Kobbe's just forced away once again. How do you get close?
There's a third of his HP.
How do you get close to this Fnatic lineup? We're already 10 seconds through the 40. We've got to wait for another barrel to come out, and Wunder only drinking them under the table. Kobbe forced away once again. The third inhibitor will fall, and as much as Astralis are still alive in this game, you have to feel it is all done, but that Nexus falling. JeongHoon caught off towards the side, Fnatic pushing in. Cannon minions here, supers on their way. Mid lane inhibitor is about to respawn as Xerxe looks for a little bit of something, but can't find it. Kobbe caught out once again, cleanses away. Wunder with the barrel, not quite there. Decimated smash short there from Xerxe, who flashed forward to try and make the play. The mid lane inhib respawns, but the inhibitor towers won't do the same. The first one falls, Wunder goes in, pops the stopwatch just short. Decimated smash coming out, Xerxe looking for the resets. The bailout though brings Wunder back, and he will fall afterwards. Xerxe charges in and immediately regrets that decision, backs away. And Fnatic will take down Astralis. JeongHoon going in with the quickness onto Upset. Can't quite get there.
The damage is too much from Upset. Humanoid's going to come in with the ultimate, and that will be Astralis wiped off the game as Fnatic secure themselves their 4th win of the split.
It was done at 22 minutes, and it took another 10 minutes for the Nexus to fall. Fnatic in control for the majority of that game. Astralis tried to bring something new out with the Bel'Veth, but they really couldn't find the early game advantage they needed to make that pick work.
Yeah, I think that it came down to what we talked about in draft. While I do think that on paper, Astralis actually had really good scaling, the problem was the range.
Yeah.
They couldn't get the damage off consistently enough, and yeah, the Fnatic played the team fights much better than them. Huge credit needs to go to Wunder. His performance was fantastic from start to finish. The way he played lane, he was just bullying out Vizicsacsi in the 1v1. In the team fights, he was consistent, and basically he made it impossible for Kobbe to play any team fights. He threw the ultimate off cooldown, and you saw how much damage he was doing. It was, I swear, at some point he was just doing it to pad his damage stats.
DPM's gonna be off the charts, right? 800 damage on a 40-second cooldown, that's 800 DPM, Betty.
Yep. So well played by Wunder. Of course, the rest of Fnatic also doing a very good job. Razork continuing his early aggression. Upset just doesn't die.
Yep.
Often what you want from your AD carry. And overall, great week for Fnatic. Great week for Fnatic so far. They will, of course, play another game tomorrow. But a good start and a potential bounce back as we are already almost halfway through week 3.
And we are. You can vote for your key player of the game at LEC on Twitter. Wunder, Razork, and Upset are your options. Tomorrow, Fnatic have a big test, though. G2 is their matchup.
Week 3, G2 Fnatic, the classic.
Yep, always there. Astralis will play up against Vitality, so maybe a game that they will look at being able to win. I mean, they look at every game as a game they can win, but perhaps a little bit more within their scope. They have beaten the bottom 3 teams. Vitality, if they manage to, if Astralis manage to beat them.
Was even saying to us that he feels that if they play like they did today, then that game's going to be a lot harder for them. So definitely a close one and an important matchup for both teams as they are in contention right now for playoff spots.
Yeah, they really are. And I think we are just waiting for a second as Law is getting ready with Razork to have a talk about that game and perhaps about how Fnatic have been doing generally. And in fact, we are ready to hand it over. Law, take it away.
Thank you, Medic and Razork. Thank you for joining me after this game. Congrats on taking down Astralis.
Thank you.
Quick words about the draft, maybe. You left Bel'Veth open, and we saw the impact that the champion could have earlier today. We know that you need to nullify the effect of the champion in the early game for it to be useless. So what made you confident that you would do so and make the champion useless?
I mean, I think the champ is kind of useless if she doesn't get the form.
Yeah.
I mean, in early game, I think the champ is just full clear champ, try to get level 6 as soon as possible, and then it's just try to get the Rift Herald, try to get the Drakes, just get the ultimate form as soon as possible, and then, I don't know, the champ just scales really good and has a lot of DPS. But I don't think the champ is actually really broken. I think it's like, it has counterplay, but it's like a weird mechanic with the ultimate, I guess. It's just like, I guess in solo queue it's ramping up because people get a lot of resets with the ult.
Okay, that makes sense because Labrov was telling me that the champion is really busted earlier. But if you can work around it, I'm just wondering what is going to be the impact that the champion can have in the jungle meta right now, because it's the least diverse role we have in League of Legends. Do you think we're going to see the pick rise in priority or not?
I'm not sure, honestly. I mean, the champ is relatively new. Teams only played 1 week in LEC, so I think we just need to keep testing. Let's see if maybe the champ is broken and I'm wrong, and we just don't know what the champ is capable of. But I just feel like we need to keep playing her and see if she's broken or not.
All right, we'll see how the champion evolves. I wanted to look at this screen here because we're gonna check one of the replays from the early game, the top lane dive. Everything was going well for you, but then JeongHoon arrives afterwards, and then it looks like things don't go so well for you. Can you explain to me what happened and what backfired for Fnatic here?
Yeah, I think Velvet was trying to get prio, but I think they went really deep on top, so I decided to counter gank. It's just that I didn't expect her to actually deal no damage. I guess she timed properly her E, and it's like 70% damage reduction. And then, I don't know, I was feeling it, and I said, Wunder, I'm going in. It was honestly a risky play. We could have lost the Herald, but I got the first blood, and actually this play wasn't even good for us. I think we went 2-for-1. But yeah, I think like we just need to know what Velvet is capable of, and I think we just need more time.
Yeah, you guys managed to make it work afterwards. And there's a thing with Wunder and top lane dive, especially when he's playing Gragas, and he got the Kia player of the game here. So would you say that Wunder is the best Gragas in the LEC right now?
After me, yes. I think Wunder is actually a really good Gragas player. And I mean, last split he was playing the tank, and you saw the 3-man dive. That he plays really good with the champ, and I think he deserved the MVP.
All right, but after you, though.
Okay, after me.
Focusing on the game you're going to have tomorrow, match of the week against G2. I know things have not been going the way you expected so far with Fnatic, but what is your word on the matchup? How do you think this one will go?
Well, I mean, my goal coming up to this week and coming up for tomorrow match, it was to actually perform better as a team, because I feel like last week we were playing really bad and we got away with 1 win against BDS, but the performance was really shaky. So the goal from me and from the team is to actually bring a better performance. We have been training this week, and we recovered from our illness that we were sick last week. So I'm expecting to actually play a good match against G2 and hopefully bring the win.
All right, and great to hear that you're feeling better, Razork. Thank you so much for the interview. Good luck against G2 tomorrow, and then we're going to take a short break. We'll be back for the last game of the day, Mad Lions G2 Esports, right after the break. Stay tuned.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Over the past 2 years, the LEC finals have been played from this studio. That's 2 years where the LEC hasn't been on the road. That's 2 years where we haven't been able to come to where you are, the fans. But this year is different. That's why we are proud to announce that this year, this season, the LEC is back on the road. More specifically,
looking for 4, that's the Quadra, he will get it, the reset forward, looking for a pentakill, we're in Sweden.
People in a shadow.